Despite the legal pushback, the Biden administration says it still wants to end Title 42 at the U.S. border. That's a Trump-era pandemic rule that allows authorities to cite public health to quickly eject migrants trying to enter the country. If the rule is lifted this month, DHS officials believe the number of migrants apprehended at the southern border could climb as high as 18,000 per day. That's triple the amount they're currently seeing. Homeland Security Chief Alejandro Mayorkas says the U.S. is ready to handle that surge.
There is no question that if, in fact, we reach that number, that is going to be an extraordinary strain on our system. But we are preparing for it, and that is why the plan we have prepared calls for a number of different actions, not just in the domestic arena, but also with our partners to the south.
Joining us now is Democratic Congresswoman Pramila Jayapal. Congresswoman, great to see you. So let's start there with Title 42. I know that you are ready to end that, but many of your even fellow Democrats say it is too soon. I'll just give you one example. This comes from Congressman Tim Ryan of Ohio. He says, quote, prematurely ending this policy without a path forward does nothing to keep America safe, support our Border Patrol agents, protect asylum seekers, or bring about the comprehensive fix our immigration system needs. And he's far from alone. So what do you say to the people who say we're just not ready for this?
Well, Allison, great to see you. The first thing I would say is that Title 42 is a public health law. It was used by the Trump administration to circumvent actual immigration law, and the Trump administration had a strategy of ending all the legal pathways that we had into the country. Even though we didn't have sufficient amount of those, our immigration system has been broken for a long time. So we should be clear that the Trump administration used Title 42 in ways it never should have. But on top of that, Title 42 has done nothing to support orderly processes at the border. In fact, it's done the opposite. It's thrown a lot of chaos in because asylum seekers have no legal way to enter the country. And so this is immigration law. Should be, we should respect the fact that we have both in domestic law and international law the right for asylum seekers to seek asylum. And if we really want to focus on fixing the immigration system, then we should pass the kinds of lawful pathways in immigration reforms that we need to do. But Republicans are not going to be willing to do that because they have continued to use immigrants as a wedge issue and a political football, and it's disgusting. Yeah. They should actually step up and help us to pass those reforms.
I mean, as you know, every administration has been bedeviled by the some sort of comprehensive immigration plan for decades. And I hear what you're saying about its origins, which may not have been in the purest of motives. But just practically speaking, do you think the border can handle 18,000 border crossers a day?
Well, I don't think that's what's going to happen, Allison. Those numbers include repeat border crossings. And part of the reason is because all Title 42 did is expel people across the border. It didn't actually process them. And so you have multiple people who are trying to cross over and over again. So those numbers are way inflated, number one. And number two, yes, I actually think that the numbers would go down eventually, maybe not immediately, because there's such a buildup of people at the other side of the border. But if we actually implement orderly ways and we allow people to even apply in their home countries instead of coming to the border, all things the Trump administration threw out, then that's how we're going to actually see that situation improve. And let's just be clear, we're all pushing for Ukrainian refugees to be allowed entry into the country. We should be able to do that for Haitians and other Latin American countries, asylum seekers that are coming to the border as well. This is a very discriminatory way to go about this process, and a disorderly one, thanks to the illegal implementation of Title 42.
Okay, let's move on to student debt and forgiveness of student debt. And I know that you think that student debt should be forgiven. I think $50,000 worth of it. But let's talk about the unintended consequences of that, because certainly I understand the impulse to, for students, that would be wonderful and life-changing. But for other Americans, there could be unintended consequences. For instance, a report from the Committee for Responsible Federal Budget estimated that canceling all $1.6 trillion in federal student loan debt would increase inflation by 0.1 to 0.5% over the next 12 months. And of course, this is no time that anybody wants to hear about inflation being increased.
Well, Allison, first of all, I wish we were going to cancel all the student debt, but President Biden has been clear that that is not what he's going to do. But I will just say that if it was 50,000, that same report said the impact would be negligible on inflation for such a small amount. But also on top of that, let's be clear why the Republicans are attacking this policy. It's because it's incredibly popular across Republicans, independents, and Democrats. Why? Because 99% of the people that have student debt, that 45 million borrowers that have student debt, are people who did not go to Ivy League schools. They are struggling under the crushing burden of student debt. 40% of them almost have never even gotten a college degree. So this is helping regular folks across the country. And it's not just young people, Allison. What the fastest growing demographic of people with student loans now is seniors. So people who are living on fixed incomes, but either are still paying off their student debt or are paying off the debt of their kids or grandkids. So this affects a wide group of people, and it will help lower costs in this inflationary time and really bring relief to millions of people across the country.
I mean, one other argument against it is that it doesn't get to the root problem, and that is the skyrocketing costs of tuition. I mean, they've just, gone up exponentially. Inexplicably, actually. So here's a couple of stats about that. The average tuition and fees at private universities have jumped 144% in the past 10 years. Out-of-state tuition and fees at public universities have risen 171%. In-state tuition at public universities has grown 211%. And so it just doesn't, in other words, you can forgive the current debt, but then we're just in this vicious cycle of accruing more debt.
Well, you're exactly right. It's a two-part process. We got to forgive the existing debt where the federal government is actually profiting on the interest that people are paying just to get an education, which is something we tell people to do because it helps our economy. But on top of that, you're right. That's why I have a College for All bill. I've got a plan for that as well, to make tuition free for families earning up to $125,000. The federal government has disinvested over the last decade in education. That's a big reason why tuition has increased so much. And we have to get that under control. And we have to recognize that investing in people's education is a boon for our economy, Allison. It helps us in the long run and the short run and the medium term to build the kind of skills that we need and support our workforce to be able to take care of themselves.